Before we have our special music, I'd like to share an inspirational reading with you at this time. And it's from Daily Word, and it's entitled Guidance. And it reads, and I quote, "I trust divine guidance to show me the way. Spiritual guidance is always present within and all around me. I know without a doubt that the answers I seek are now on the way to me. I focus on letting go of any concerns that I may have. I don't try to solve situations by myself. Instead, I release everything into prayer. If I am experiencing any darkness in my life, I know God will guide me out of it into the light. If I begin to worry about something, I remind myself of divine guidance. Enlightenment may come at any time and often in unexpected ways. I must keep my mind open and receptive to all avenues of divine direction. Insights will come to lead me along my right path. I move forward one step at a time with confidence, and my mind is at peace." And so it is. And now, Carol and Alex will share an absolutely beautiful song that many of you, if not all of you, have heard, Born Free.
Hope everyone's doing well today. Yes, this is our offering to share with you this morning. Born free, as free as the wind blows, as free as the grass grows, born free to follow your heart. Live free and beauty surrounds you. The world still astounds you each time you look at a star. Stay free where no walls surround you. You're free as the roaring tide, so there's no need to hide. Born free, and life is worth living, and only worth living 'cause you're born free. Stay free where no walls surround you. You're free as the roaring tide, so there's no need to hide. Born free, and life is worth living, and only worth living 'cause you're born free.
For those of you who may be listening by video at whatever time of day it is where you are, good morning to you. It's wonderful to be here with you all. I'm Lynne Forrest, and today I am speaking on following the inner voice. And probably, I don't know about you, but the first question comes up for me is, well, I do follow that inner voice, and man, it gets me in big time trouble a lot. Because there actually are two inner voices. And there's sort of the egoic, not sort of, there is the ego, what I call the victim ego voice. And that's the one who is running the story of a limited self that we call me. Most of the time when we say I or me, we're actually talking about that limited version of a story. But there's another inner voice, and that's the one that we want to learn to follow. And actually to even begin to attune to, because frankly, we go a lot, many of us go many years in childhood, etc., through childhood and up into all of our lives, many of us. Not anyone in this audience, I'm sure. But following that other voice, the one that we call me, we listen to it, we are programmed by it. It is a program that we are destined to take on. We come in to take its right. How do I know that? Because it goes back, they say, you have access through your DNA download 40 generations back on both sides. So that's a whole lot of story going on. And you come right into the middle of it and take it on. And we're supposed to. We're supposed to. It's not this terrible thing that, I have this terrible ego and I need to get rid of it. Good luck with that. It actually comes for a purpose. It has a task to perform for us, or else we wouldn't be set up to take it on. And its purpose is to help, to give us the place where we can begin to see what it is that we are broadcasting out to the world and that's being reflected back to us. Because that's what we do. We are co-creators. And we come in to learn the practice of co-creation. And the way we learn how to be co-creators is to, first of all, create the shadow of who we are. Because if we just recreated who we are, if we just projected out there who we really are, it wouldn't look any different than where we'd come from. We would not know that it was our creation. But when we take on a story and we project that out, it's the shadow. It's the opposite of who we really are. And boy, it stands out real good against the light, all that dark does. All that unworthiness and not good enough and imperfection and what's wrong with the world, the problem mentality is the shadow story. That's the part of us that we call me, and that's what and then there comes a moment in our life, hopefully, when we're right for it, if we came to do that, because maybe we're just here playing our part in the drama, in the saga that is being played out on the world stage, which is the typical good guy, bad guy. Every story's made of it. That lives within us. So, except that higher self, that part of us that came with the plan, that remembers who we are, that never forgets who we are, we have that part of us too. We have that inner voice. And when I talk about the inner voice, that's the voice I'm speaking of. So, one of the ways I follow the inner voice, and that really is my largest desire and commitment, personally, is to learn how to better and better listen for that inner voice and begin to get, so that I know the sound of it, I know the feel of it, I know the smell of it. It's like having a best friend and you know them really well. When they call you on the phone, you don't have to ask, who is this? You know immediate who it is, this person you love. There they are, and your heart lifts. And I tell my children when I see them that it doesn't matter what. As soon as I hear their voice, as soon as I see them, my heart lifts. This is love. And the inner voice, we want to get that familiar with it so that when we hear it, we know it. Now, how does that happen except through hanging out with the inner voice enough to really get to know it, right? So a few days ago, one of the ways I listen to the inner voice is when I'm asked to speak, like the temple here so kindly and graciously invites me to come here and get to tell you all, talk about the thing I love, which is my relationship with the universe and source. When I'm asked to speak, the thing I do is I go into this sort of, rather than, okay, I got to do research and pull this stuff together, I just ask the universe to sort of, well, give me some ideas. And about the week before, about 3 or 4 days before, I'll sit down, and I can tell it's still the ego voice. It's sort of like, well, you ought to tell them this. And this time I wrote questions. I was like, okay, so here's what I want you to know about following the inner voice. And I wrote down questions about that I thought you would want to know, and we'll see how far we get. But I thought, and then yesterday morning, when I was doing my morning practice, it's a daily practice. And this is how I get to know my inner voice, is I spend time every single day with that inner voice, listening, asking. And then now I've gotten to where I go through the day having this conversation. And this living intelligence that is the source of our creation that we come out of through the breath. This is all things I've been told through my morning meditations, through my daily practice. I came to see that the breath is the indwelling, is the incoming of the inner voice. And when I line up with my breath, I can open it up more and more, and I can release some of the toxic thinking of the victim ego. I begin to go, oh, that's what I'm creating. When I believe that, oh, then this is what comes back to me. This is what I see in the world. The inner voice comes in and says, well, how about looking at it like this? And it'll be a turnaround. It'll be a very different frequency, a very different vibration. And so right before, like yesterday morning, here I'm to speak today, I said, okay, well, I want to receive. And the download comes. And I just begin to get answers to these questions. And so I wrote them down. I wrote them down this morning. Or I wrote the questions down earlier in the week. Today, the answers. I just stood at my computer as it's flowing through. So I thought maybe the words that came through this morning fresh might actually be better than my own, because I don't trust my voice not to be tainted a little bit with ego right now, right? You know, because I might think I'm a somebody for getting to get up here and stand and talk to you guys or something, and that definitely gets in the way of flow. So the first question is, what is the inner voice? And the answer, the inner voice is the voice, the a priori voice. You know what that word means, a priori? It means the original voice. It means before the ego self that you call me was, this voice was, is, or ever will be. It will be that which came in with you and that which takes you out. It precedes the me we think we are, the story-infested self we profess to be. Right? So the next question was, what are the characteristics of the egoic voice? And the answer, the egoic voice speaks from defensiveness. That's an important thing to remember. It speaks from defensiveness. It means that if I think that I'm a somebody, that I have some great thing, that I got to convince you all that I'm a somebody, then I'm going to be speaking from a very different place, perhaps, than when I speak from the place of the inner voice. And sometimes I notice it's taken me a lot of years to be able to bring my inner voice out in public, because my egoic voice has been so loud. So what are the characteristics? It speaks from defensiveness. It is the part of us that is working so hard to protect us from a world it believes is a very scary place, and it always carries an undertone of fear. That's the egoic voice. But here's the important thing to remember about that little egoic voice. It is not a bad guy. It is not a bad guy. Did you hear the first part of that sentence? It is working so hard to protect us from what that story mind self believes is a scary world. And I mean, we have lots of evidence. We forget that what we see in the world is what we expect to see. It's what we believe. It's going to be based on what we're believing. When I come to the world and I take on my story, this ear thing is getting kind of crazy here. Hold on a minute. There we go. Speaking of my ego's going, that's a bother. So it is so busy reacting out of, the ego voice is so busy reacting out of the belief system that we come in and take on. The world is a scary place out there. In 3D, it is manifesting for us, which is what the universe does. We are co-creators. We are co-creating the shadow of who we are. It's a pretty scary looking shadow. It's a big boogeyman. But when you believe it, that is it. And so the way to dispel illusion is to stop feeding it. Stop believing in it. Start looking for what reality is, says the inner voice. The inner voice says, the reality is, I am the reality. That which sources me, that breath that comes in through me, that's the I am that I am. That's who I am. And so how do you separate the next question from the ego voice? By getting to know it. Here's that which came through. By getting to know it so ultimately that I know it when it speaks, I know the feel of it, I know the taste of it, I know the sort of visions it inspires, and they are never based in fear. I know the sort of vision it inspires through my daily visions. I make it my goal to come to know that energy in me so well that it is obvious. And the main distinction is that inner voice always speaks from love. It doesn't hate the ego. It doesn't say, oh, we got to kill that. Let's get rid of it, exterminate it. No, it understands that we came to take on a story and that we get attached to the story, believing it. We so believe our own story that we take it on. We feel as if it's true. We act as if it's true. We react out of it. And the world being what it is, it's always going to show us whatever it is we believe. And I've been walking this path we call the path of verification. It's the middle way, that blend between those two voices. The inner voice actually works with the victim ego, and when I say victim, it just means that little ego thinks that it's at the mercy of what's out there. It thinks that out there can hurt the I am, and the I am cannot be hurt by anything the world throws at it. It's eternal stuff. And it is always learning, always expanding, always growing, and always appreciating whatever the ride is that we come to take, knowing that this is how that transmission of the source that I am in this body is teaching me, is giving me the opportunity to experience. That is the purpose for our shadowy lives. It's the grist for the mill. It's the coal before it becomes the diamond. And as we learn to transmutate it, as we learn to alchemically take on the story by becoming aware of what it is and transmutating it, we transform it from that coal substance, that hard, calcified lie that we've been buying and believing and projecting and creating, because that's how we learn. And it transforms it into gold. That's what alchemy is. The gold of consciousness, the gold of awareness, the gold of remembering who we are. So I know how the inner voice feels, how she moves through me. I know how she uses my words and whatever my acquired data is to move through me this story of a self that I think I am, when in fact I am both the shadow and the light of my dualistic being. I came to be both. Now, is that not loving news? Isn't that a much kinder way to see your ego than as this pesky critter that you just got to stomp down and keep down at all and deny that you have, which takes a lot of ego to do all that denial, right? It just, gets bigger, just gets bigger. So what is the identifying criteria? Wait, I've got 2 minutes. Let me see. Let me skip ahead. I have so many more questions. Maybe they'll invite me back sometime. Steps to lining up with, that was ego. Steps to lining up with the inner voice, right? Here's what I want you to know. Here's what you can do every single day. Set your intention to know your inner voice. Wake up in the morning and let the first thought you think be appreciation. Appreciation for everything you have right now. Begin to look for the ways the universe is communicating with you. I have wonderful examples yesterday. Yesterday was the story of the rock, which some of you know. We met in the park last night, and we brought a little donation plate and set it there, and it was like, well, we just need a stone. I wish we'd brought a stone to set on the money when it gets in, so the breeze doesn't lift it. And not 5 minutes later, a couple of folks came and they said, there's a stone here in the tree, and picked it up, and it was a painted stone. It was a beautifully designed, painted stone. The universe hears us. It listens. It's a living intelligence. We get to have a communication with it. Don't take my word for it. Try it for yourselves. So aligning every single morning through grounding and setting your intention, ground and open your heart. I use breath, I use yoga, I do things to actually help me open this so that I can say more and more of you, please. More and more of your abundance, more of your bounty, because that inner voice that is connected with the source from which we come is always saying yes. It's just that we must become aware of what we're asking it for. If we're asking it for scarcity, it will abundantly supply. If we're asking for, I'm not good enough and I can't really expect much and things don't really work out for me, the universe will bring me an abundance of evidence of that. So intend, set your intention, line up with it, focus, ground, open, and remember who you are. Ask to be shown. Worship with all the senses so that it increases your sensitivity and your responsive. Inner and outer listening, chant, sing, speak, praise, movement, dance, visualize, touch, source through your senses every day. So let's just take 1 minute. I'm going to close. I think we're about done here. But I want to just take a minute and give you a moment right now. Just close your eyes just for a moment. Take a deep breath, deep inhale. Open your heart when you do that. Hold it for a moment and imagine yourself receiving blessings. Imagine yourself receiving light from the heavens, because you are. Hold that breath and then let it out slow. Exhale it so slow. And as you exhale, imagine it stirring the forces of the golden ball of consciousness that you came in with, that sits at the seat of your being, and it's unwrapping its golden thread and reminding you, and you're remembering who you are. And see it coming out and bubbling over you, protecting you through this day, through this way, through your life. May it be so, for so it is. Namaste. Thank you.
All righty. We're going to do a final song before we we leave today and go out and finish our wonderful, wonderful Sunday. Thank you so much for being here. A couple of quick things that I would like to say. First, I say this to the congregation, but also to the people that might be watching on Facebook and on YouTube. We would love for you to go to our website, www.tlgtemple.org. We would love for you to come to our service. We'd love for you to go to the website and see a little bit about who we are, find out if this is something that you might enjoy, and then please join us for Sunday service. We're socially distancing, we're masked up, and we've got a sanitizer all over the place, so you can feel safe here. We also have our August used book sale going on. That's another thing I'd like to invite you to. It's set up in the lobby, and if you would like to come during the week, you can set up an appointment with Terry Lake, and you can call the temple for that. The temple phone number is 727-822-8628. Call and make an appointment, and then you can be here by yourself and have plenty of time to look around. Terry will make sure that you're set up and very comfortable. Otherwise, it's open also on Sundays during service time. Now, one last thing that I would like to remind you about is that we have a food barrel for the St. Pete Free Clinic, and we've been doing this, I think, since May. We started in May, and we're working on our 5th food barrel. So if this is something that you would like to be a part of, non-perishable foods, you can come up to the temple, drop them off at the front door, ring the doorbell, and someone will come and get the food from outside and bring it in, so you don't even need to come in if you don't want. You can just drop it off and go. And that way you can help all the people that are in need right now, families that never thought that they would be in this situation, are in this situation. Want to also let you know that we've sent 480 pounds of food in those 4 barrels. And we're working on our 5th. That's a lot of food. And we also have sent $890 in cash donations. So that's another way you can give as well. You can serve the community by sending a donation or dropping it off here at the temple. And now I'll get to the good music. This is called Love Is My Decision by Daniel Nahmod. I'm going to ask you to not sing along, but sing along in your head or in your mask. Go ahead, Steve. This is a great song. It's got a great message. Love is my decision. It's up to me to give all my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to stand on that bridge. Love is my decision. No one else can make me forgive. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down the road. decision right here and now. Good afternoon. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you.